but it's dry, the sun shines on the righteous, and we're underway with race one. Jonathan Rea with a good start, long drag down here to turn number one. Razgatlioglu through the gears looking for the inside line. Now he ducks into the slipstream. Michael Ruben Rinaldi sweeping across the outside into turn one. Van der Mark, from way back, bumps his teammate out of the way. Razgatlioglu tumbling backwards down the order. Start has played perfectly into the hands of Scott Redding, who's up into third place. It's Rea, Rinaldi, Redding. Van der Mark holds fourth position, just a little bit too ambitious there, frankly, into turn one. Then it's Tom Sykes. Alvaro Bautista losing out in the early running as Razgatlioglu dives back down to the inside, fishtailing as they come through the right-hander. Razgatlioglu then back on the march. He's got Bautista in front of him, Chaz Davies behind him, so decent progress being made by Davies early on as Razgatlioglu again dives for the inside. This time it's to make a pass on Alvaro Bautista, and Razgatlioglu comes through for sixth position. Bautista looking prone in the early laps as Davies now has a look at his former teammate. Redding looking down the inside into one of the slowest hairpins on this circuit. He gets through on Rinaldi, and it's a perfect block pass because he manages to get it stopped in front of the number 21. And now we've got Rea and Redding out in front. Bautista comes through on the inside of Sykes and mugs Razgatlioglu as well. That's sheer power coming off the final turn and running back into turn one. He's got it stopped as well by Bautista. Buy one, get one free. The Spaniard through into fifth position.
Rinaldi able to take advantage of Scott Redding as well. He's able to make that move because he's able to have that grip. You can see that moment actually for Scott Redding. We didn't catch it where Rinaldi was able to make the move through, but just show just how hard Redding is pushing.
Forrest, the veteran, 8th position from race one in Aragon. His previous best result of the season, currently sits in 9th place. Davies tucked right in now to the slipstream behind Toprak Razgatlioglu. He'll duck out early as they head down towards turn number one. Davies is through in swift order for 6th place, and Toprak is tumbling backwards through the order. Having started P2, he goes down to P7. Davies looked to be a little bit wide there around turn one, but gathered it up for turn two and has made a good pass there for P6. Well, we said that anyone coming through from outside of the top 15 positions, given the gap in performance in the Superpole session, will have done a job. Effectively, Folger is quite literally the wild card in that situation because we never got to see what he could do in terms of single lap pace, as we see the overtaking manoeuvre here from Alvaro Bautista, who is now up ahead of Michael van der Mark and into P4. Jonathan Rea is your race leader, still by a second over Michael Ruben Rinaldi. It looks as though Scott Redding is starting to build himself up for an attack here. He gets a nice run coming off the final turn. Down the start-finish straight then. Two Ducatis evenly matched. Redding's got the slipstream. Can he make the move into turn number one? Rinaldi's been losing ground. Here goes Redding, back through once again into second place. Not for the first time. The number 21 has to see the back of the number 45. Redding is clear again of Michael Ruben Rinaldi.
Yeah, what's interesting for Davis is it's not really picking up the pace, it's just that he's able to keep that pace a bit more consistent than some of the other riders. He's just able to lap there, lap after lap, in the 1 minute 43.3, 0.4 range. And as long as he's able to do that, he's going to give himself opportunities. That's why he's been able to open that gap to Toprak. And certainly Toprak last time around lost another half second. So for Chaz Davies, he's the man on the move. And this is exactly what we saw in Aragon as well. He gets through on Michael van der Mark down in towards turn 10. The next target is going to be Alvaro Bautista. Last time around, Davies was 0.3 of a second faster than Bautista. This time around, he's already pulled in 0.4 on him, and he's made that move on van der Mark. Yeah, for Davis, the key thing is going to be the run through turn 3. You can see there a big twitch on the entry into turn 1 there for Bautista. That's going to be an easy move for Chaz Davies. We saw all the way through that last half lap that Bautista was just having those little pumps, those little twitches on the bike. And clearly with that SCX rear tyre, he's just lost all that grip now. And it's going to be a real struggle for him through the rest of this race. That's why van der Mark's been able to get through as well. It's a big challenge to try and make that SCX tyre last for any of these feature-length races, but particularly when you've got a relatively clean track after all the rain we've had, and you don't have that rubber in, which would make it a little bit easier for them. You also don't have the data about how you're going to have to try and approach it with the SCX tyre. So for Bautista, you can see there again just that little bit of a twitch as he gets the bike upright on the exit of turn 5, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him in the final third of this race, but let's see if he's able to figure out how he can adapt to it, and if he's able to still hang with van der Mark. Yeah, Bautista's going to at least feel that he's going to have a chance to make a move down in towards turn 1, just use the top speed of his Honda on the Yamaha of Van der Mark. This is where he made his mistake last time around. Is he going to have enough grip as he gets down in towards the braking zone this time? Looks like he is going to, but again, just that bit of a slide. Is he going to be able to hold his line, or is Van der Mark going to have a chance as we get up towards the run towards turn 3 and the run up the hill? Lots more speed there for Van der Mark through turn 2, and we'll see if he's able just to have the drive and the grip through turn 3.
Good battling between these two for 5th position. Van der Mark goes all the way around the outside. Can he stick it out around the outside? Bautista has a big old wobble. He's going to miss the apex here. Van der Mark cuts to the inside line and through again for 5th position. These two showing up the respective strengths of their machines, as Bautista has been able to make it through on the straights, but Van der Mark in the twisty stuff in the early stages of lap number 16 gets through again for P5. Davies in the slipstream, long old straight here of more than a kilometre, and that is perfect for Davies to stretch his legs, move out of the slipstream, through on the inside of Rinaldi, back across the front of him to take the racing line, and the tyres cry enough for Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who's picked off by the resurgent Welshman Chaz Davies. As they come into the final sector, but it's not going to be enough to defend, surely, against Alvaro Bautista, as long as the Spaniard can get it stopped. Into turn number 1, he almost rides up the back of Michael Ruben Rinaldi. I think the pair touched, actually, coming off the final turn at the end of the penultimate lap. Bautista into the slipstream. Can he make his manoeuvre? Into turn 1 down the inside. He's alongside Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Who will be the first to turn? It's Bautista who gets there. Rinaldi looking for the cutback and thinking about turn 2. But in the end, Michael Ruben Rinaldi just doesn't have the grip in the closing stages of this race. Jonathan Rea in KRT's home territory, the first ever winner in a WorldSBK race here in Catalonia. It's Jonathan Rea. Rea extends his championship lead to 41 points over Scott Redding, who's second. Chaz Davies is back on the podium with third. Lights out. Race down to the first turn. 3 abreast at the front of the field. Van der Mark's made a good jump. Baz out dragging Jonathan Rea towards the first turn. Rea is squeezed up by the 2 Yamahas, and Rinaldi is coming through down the inside of the pair of them. And watch for Chaz Davies going all the way around the outside of turn number 1. He's not quite going to be able to slot into a top 3 place. He manages to come around the outside now of Garrett Gerloff to come through into second place to Michael Ruben Rinaldi. So it's Van der Mark, Rinaldi, Gerloff, Davies, Rea, and Loris Baz was the big loser for all of that. He was pushed out onto the outside apron at turns 1 and 2. Completing lap number 1 then. The fight at the moment is for 3rd place. Michael Van der Mark leads us 0.2 of a second clear of Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Chaz Davies gets a surge off the final turn to Baz Gerloff, and it's formation flying because Rinaldi has done the same to pick off Michael Van der Mark for the lead. So 2 Ducatis moving forward. Rinaldi hits the front. Van der Mark relegated to 2nd. Gerloff relegated to 4th. Chaz Davies on the move, and clearly the Ducatis, the form machines of the early stages of race 2, with Scott Redding up in P5 as well. Top 2 in the championship, once again going side by side. Jonathan Rea dunking down the inside. Redding aggressive to recover that P5. He will not allow the reigning world champion to stay in front of him. Chaz Davies the closest he's been to making the pass on Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Thunders down the inside in the braking zone into turn number 1. He goes wide. That will give him the inside line though for turn 2. Rinaldi's going to have to go the long way round. He's not going to be able to recover the race lead. And Chaz Davies is your new leader. Will Redding again get aggressive as they head down towards turn number 10? It's Davies who leads us. Redding looking for a move down the inside, and he has made the move, but he's gone too deep, and Jonathan Rea sweetly slots back up the inside line, and now Jonathan Rea consolidates 5th place. Rinaldi now ducks to the inside line. Van der Mark sets himself up wide. Rinaldi's made a huge error there, and he might see 2 Yamahas come past as a result. Yes, he does. Garrett Gerloff up into a provisional podium place, and Michael Ruben Rinaldi just a little bit too impatient there on the tail of Chaz Davies. Here goes Garrett Gerloff down the inside of Michael van der Mark into turn 1. Ray thinking about a manoeuvre further back on Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Gerloff moved van der Mark aside this time around. He learned from the last attack on the tail of the Dutchman, and this time van der Mark had no way to respond as the pair clashed into turn 1. Less than a bike length between van der Mark and Garrett Gerloff, and van der Mark is going to send it from way back down the inside. That's a manoeuvre in the early stages of the lap, and sweetly made as well by Michael van der Mark, who will now sweep to the outside line to cover the inside. Perfect positioning of that Yamaha machine from Michael van der Mark.
Jonathan Ray, a tenth, 2/10 of a second, a lap slower than where he was at this stage of the race yesterday, and that's why he's found himself down in 4th position. Interestingly though, Michael van der Mark with a personal best last time around, so he's clearly got that Yamaha working really well on the tyre. This is where he's strong, in towards turns 4, down in towards 5. This is the section where the Yamaha works really well, so van der Mark needs to take advantage of that, see if he's able to get that drive in the run down in towards turn 5. He's definitely close enough.
Michael van der Mark ducking to the inside into turn 5. Chaz Davies leaves the door wide open. He's going to get moved out of the way here. Van der Mark across the front of Chaz Davies to lead in Catalonia, but the Ducati responds down the inside. Davies comes back through. Great fighting between two experienced men in WorldSBK. It's Davies who is on top for the moment, but van der Mark, the Superpole race winner, is still on a charge, and Michael van der Mark might think about a manoeuvre here into turn number 10. The grunt of the Ducati certainly helps out Chaz Davies. Separate fight in the background of your shot there, because Jonathan Ray has lost huge amounts of ground to Michael Ruben Rinaldi, and Rinaldi is looking good at this stage of the race, and Redding is attempting to go with him. Ray could be losing more positions very shortly.
Chaz Davies still just grinding out those lap times, but van der Mark keeping the pressure on, and once again closing in by 1/4 of a second in that middle sector of the lap. This is where it's a real challenge for Chaz Davies. He knows how hard he's riding, he knows the lap times he's putting in, and he'll look at his pit board and he'll keep seeing +0, +0, +0. Van der Mark doing everything he can just to keep that pressure on. Look at van der Mark, that run down in towards turn 10.
Alex Lowe's here ahead of Eugene Laverty and Leon Haslam, a fight that I've mentioned on a couple of occasions as this race has gone on. This is a decent performance from Eugene Laverty, certainly showing over the last couple of rounds a little bit more fight than he had earlier on in the campaign, and here he's going to make his move down the inside on Alex Lowe's. Xavi Forés quite sensibly staying over to one side as he re-emerges from pit lane, no doubt to gather extra data a couple of laps down, having come in with mechanical problems, but it's Eugene Laverty who comes through for 8th position. Lowe's relegated back down to P9. He had made his way past Laverty, but seems to be struggling at this stage of the race. So Xavi Forés then. Remember, he is 3 laps down, so this, if he does make a move, is not a pass for position. Meanwhile, Eugene Laverty at the front of this trio of riders as Leon Haslam cuts through on the inside of Alex Lowe's, and Lowe's immediately looking over his shoulder, so clearly doesn't feel comfortable. This was the battle out at the back for 15th place, but Valentin Debise and Sylvain Barrier, the 2 Frenchmen, have clearly come together, and that is going to promote Takumi Takahashi up into the points. Oh, that's a nasty one. Barrier straight up the back of his fellow countryman, chasing that single point. And Tom Sykes is right on the tail here of Scott Redding. He's made up a significant amount of ground as well. So we've got 2 fights in one as we head into the penultimate lap of the race. Up at the front of the field, things have stabilised. 2.5 seconds now covering Davies, van der Mark and Gerloff. But it's Michael Ruben Rinaldi who is losing time quite drastically with less than 2 laps to go now. Jonathan Ray might be able to salvage a 4th position. And that actually, in reflection and looking across the race as a whole, would be a pretty good result. And Michael Ruben Rinaldi has been given the technical flag here. Yeah, and no surprise there for Rinaldi with the smoke coming off for him, and Jonathan Ray able to get down the inside there. It's unfortunate for Rinaldi, and you can see the frustration for him having been in the running there for a 4th position. But for Rinaldi, he's been able to have a very different weekend this weekend to what he had last time out in Aragon, but again another weekend where he was able to show that consistent pace to be inside that top 5-6 positions, and to be able to come away from the other races with good results. Unfortunate for him that in the closing stages of this race he has that technical issue. Yamaha battle here with Gerloff. We saw him make a move into turn 1 before. Last lap sprint for Garrett Gerloff through on the inside of Michael van der Mark. He's trying to stretch his legs. He's made the move on several occasions on van der Mark into turn 1. He made it stick nice and early this time around the Texan. Van der Mark, though, has been strong through turn 4. He's been strong through turn 5. He'll look to fight back for second place. Chaz Davies is away and gone up the road, over 2 seconds clear. But this is for the podium places. Whatever you do, you two do not trip over one another. Jonathan Ray and Scott Redding currently 4th and 5th, over 5 seconds down the road. So it's between these two for the final steps on the podium as things stand. Gerloff slides it in through the left-hander, and that is enough to hold off Michael van der Mark. Garrett Gerloff's previous best finish prior to this weekend was a pair of 8th place finishes. He looks set to take the first podium of his WorldSBK career. He cuts to the inside line to defend against any possible slipstream from Michael van der Mark, but he's gone wide. Oh, Gerloff is wide at turn 10, and van der Mark seizes his opportunity to come through for second place, and Gerloff really didn't need to get that defensive. He's given away P2. Final 2 turns to come for van der Mark. Gerloff has missed his opportunity. He will still take a place on the podium, but it's going to be Chaz Davies up front for the first time since Laguna Seca 2019. A 31st career victory for Chaz Davies. Close over the line between the two Yamahas for second, and it's van der Mark who takes it. Gerloff in third.